again, being a Christian, the Bible tells us that we will reach a point, and Paul says it in Acts and Romans and different places. He tells us that we will reach a point where bitter is seen as sweet, dark is seen as light, and evil is seen as moral. It's undeniable that that's not what we're seeing now, but what is evil is deception. Oh. Manipulation is evil. Temptation is evil. Lying and affirming delusions, that's evil. And that's exactly how Satan works and how he operates, is in the darkness. But now a lot of it is coming to light. Again, thanks to people like Elon Musk.
It sounds loony when we start having these kind of conversations about like Satan and evil and good and, you know, and biblical stories. But as time goes on, I think that what the Bible is I think at one point in time, there was a very sophisticated society that got wiped out by some sort of a massive natural disaster. And then over time, they told the stories that they had learned since they stopped writing things down. They probably had to live like barbarians for thousands of years, but they always had the stories. Like literally the Big Bang. In the beginning, there was light. If you told that for thousands of years, that's what that would be.
Right.
The Adam and Eve in the garden, the creation, that someone created this. Like that they were trying to tell us, and that men can go down evil, wicked ways, and it can lead to destruction. And these are some of the symptoms that you'll see when it leads to destruction. It's like this is like a map of civilization.
Right.
It's just so old, and it's been translated so many times from ancient Hebrew and Aramaic and all these different languages down to Greek and Latin and English finally. It's like there's so much like what was really said, what was really going on, because a lot of it seems too on the money. Like if we wanted to try to put this through some sort of a logical filter and figure out like, is someone really trying to warn us about the natural progression that all societies and all civilizations go down if you don't have a moral compass and if you don't follow and adhere to the rules of God?
Well,
all right, so you saw Riley Gaines refer to the Bible, refer to a prophet. It wasn't exactly a prophecy, but it was more so how it was just talking about kind of like a Bible warning. And one of the things I found, so one thing we have to do with Joe Rogan, first thing is keep praying for this dude and pray that he doesn't become gospel adjacent. Pray that he receives the actual gospel, because one of the most dangerous places you could be is gospel adjacent instead of receiving the gospel. So you're almost there and you think you're good, but you're not. That's number one. Number two, this is another thing, is it seems like it's a fulfillment of what Jesus asked for us to do, is pray for laborers. So, and laborers don't always have to be Christian. They could just see somebody who's sympathetic to the Bible that allow you to be more sympathetic to the Bible, right? Like Cat Williams or something like that. That's not like, he's not a minister, but he made a lot of good points that I think made Joe Rogan a lot more sympathetic to the Bible, because he was talking more about the Bible when it comes to with Cat Williams, respectfully, than anybody else I've seen. Well, from what I've seen, we'll just put it like that. He was just going out Sodom and Gomorrah and all that other stuff. So then you have Riley Gaines, who mentioned, like she said, Paul said something. It wasn't Paul, it was Isaiah. But Paul was Romans 1, which laid down what happens when civilization rejects God, which is what Joe Rogan was referring to. And interesting, he said the Bible was just so on the money. That is a good thing to say for somebody who doesn't really believe in the Bible like that, because it was so on the money. But he just thought it might have been mistranslated. But I think it has been like, but the reason why I believe is because it's so on the money, and that's why I believe it's actually the word of God, because it's so on the money. But we all have our processes of what we need to get. What we need to get to in order to believe. But anyways, I'm just going to, so when it comes to Bible prophecy is excellent for three reasons. There's more than three, but just for three. For one, for winning souls, right? It's a tool to help win souls. I've seen, I've heard of, there have been tests, like I at least heard one testimony of somebody who saw a Bible prophecy and saw it real life and then started believing. All right, so it can win a soul on its own, or maybe in conjunction with something else, which we see what's going on with Joe Rogan. Number two, like seeing the Bible prophecy come to pass and strengthens your faith in the Word of God that this is a supernatural thing. It kept me with my faith when I was younger. Like when I was doubting the Bible or whatever, then that with some other things helped strengthen my faith. I'll be like, okay, these prophecies has been fulfilled, therefore the Bible is true. All right, that was one of the aspects. It's not the only one, but there was one of them. That was the one of them. And number three, it's good when it comes to the getting conversation started about the Bible, because a lot of people are interested in the story of Bible prophecy. And a good place to start when it comes to the story of Bible prophecy is Matthew 24. But there are other things that are people interested in that makes people just start opening their eyes up to the Bible, like. We'll just start like what Joe Rogan is talking about, the moral decay. Well, the Bible talks about human nature in general, and one of those things it talks about is the moral decay, what happens when you abandon God, which Joe Rogan mentions. And also it talks about it talks about just certain prophetic things that's going to happen when in the future as far as moral decay is concerned. Number two, um, weather and natural disasters. All right, you have those. Um, Whether there's global warming or no global warming or climate change or whatever, there's still going to be natural disasters and things of that nature. Then there's armed conflict. All right, so you have wars, particular wars, as well as just in general the climate of armed conflict in the Bible. It talks about it in Matthew 24, Revelations chapter 6, Revelations and Zechariah chapter 6, where it talks about the four horsemen, and then there's various other wars it talks about in the Bible, like in Daniel 11 and things of that nature. Then you have the beast system. All right, technology and the mark of the beast. People talk about that. You've seen him talk about that. Then you have then you have the governmental systems of the world. So you have the one world government. You have particular governments like Israel, United States of America, Russia, Mystery Babylon, Egypt, Ethiopia, and things of this nature. The Bible talks about these countries. And then you have plagues. Plagues could be natural or supernatural. Natural or man-made. That's what I meant to say. Then you have, they could be supernatural too, but they could be natural or man-made. I guess in supernatural. Then you have other prophecies about other things like the church. The only reason I bring up that, like, people aren't really interested in that, but one of the things I'll probably bring that up in context because people have a lot of problems in the church with how the church is. But if you know that what the Bible prophecy in regards to how the church is going to move, then you understand, like, okay, what you saying, what you don't like about the church, the Bible prophesied about this. All right, there is the Bible prophesied about this thing that you say you have a problem with. The Bible prophecy talked about the nature, all about this stuff. All right, so that's not necessarily a point of interest with people, but it's just to show that, okay, this is not nothing that God didn't see coming. All right, so it's for both. It's really for those who are church hurt. We put it like that. But anyways, let's just get into it. So, Daniel, what's that? Isaiah 5:20. We just start from we'll just start from Isaiah 5:20, right? So this chapter talks about woes. It talks about woe. Verse 8, verse 11 talks about woes. Verse 19 talks about woes. But we'll just start from verse 20. So 5:20. It says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, darkness for light and lightness for darkness, and bitter sweet and sweet bitter." This is Isaiah, not Paul, right? But we just see how the Bible is just describing human nature. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. All right, we see this. So those who do talk good evil and evil good do seem to be wise in their own sight. They do tend to think they know all. These are professors, and they think they're just so smart. They really do, and really they're advocating for the things that's going to not destroy societies, families, individuals, and break us with the relationship with God, which is going to affect nature too. And then it talks about woe unto them that are mighty in drink, and the men of strength and mingle with strong drink. And then, okay, we see that too, but that's not really what we're focused on. All right. So I just find it interesting, so this is just something about human nature. Now, Romans 1, which is something I'm not going to really get into right now, but I might get into, but I'm going to read you something else too. All right. Now, Romans 1 lays out the progression of how society falls apart. Romans 1 is excellent with that. And a book that kind of lays this out, that was written by a secular person that I think was liberal was J.D. Unwin. He wrote the book Sex and Culture. He talks about how when a culture abandons God, it becomes more sexually liberated, and then when it becomes that, and then it falls apart, and I think then it becomes taken over by another person. And then, like in another book about a lady named Camille Paglia, who was a homosexual feminist, was talking about when society becomes more androgynous, then it gets taken over, which that's what you see more with our society now. But let's read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and then I'm going to just stop right here. I'm not going to really read Romans 1 here. I might read that another time, but just not right now. So interesting. Let's just look at what Second Thessalonians chapter 2 is one has one of my favorite verses. It's talking about the times of the Antichrist, but we can see this with this kind of thing happening now. It says, I'm saying a whole lot. It says, okay, so it's talking about the time of the Antichrist. So I'm gonna just read the whole thing. It says, we just start from verse 3. It says, no man, let no man deceive you, that day shall not come except there be on a falling away first, and a man that should be sin and be revealed for some provision. So there's going to be a falling away from the church. This is one of the prophecies about the church I was talking about. Who opposes himself above all that's called God and that is worshipped, and he that is God sitting in the temple of God that showing himself to be God. So it's going to talk about the temple of God that's going to be in Israel. All right. So, anyways, remember ye not that you all right. So he's talking about how that he talked about this earlier with them. All right. So then, the verse 7, he says, "The mystery of iniquity doth already work. He that now led of that he that now led will let until he be taken out of our way." So the mystery, like it seems like deception is going wrong, just in general. And then shall the wicked be revealed, the Lord, who the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and it shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Joe Rogan was talking about how he wanted Jesus to come back. It's not quite time yet. People aren't really ready for that, to be honest. Who's coming, who's working with Satan, will do power, signs, and lying wonders. All right. Now, this is talking about a particular time, because like where there's lying signs and wonders, with all deceivableness and righteousness to them that perish, because they receive the love, not the truth, that they might be saved. So they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. For this cause God shall send them a strong delusion, that they shall believe a lie, that they might be damned that believe not the truth, that had pleasure in unrighteousness. All right, listen to that last phrase. Listen to that last part. So he says they love not the truth, so he sent them a lie, because they didn't love the truth, and because they had pleasure in unrighteousness. A lot of these people who like being like, she talked about lies and deception. A lot of these people take pleasure in lies and deception, so he's just sending them a lie to believe, so they can, so they can get caught up in this stuff. Now, some people are honestly just legitimately fooled, but some people just want to believe this lie. This is the climate that we have, and that's what political correctness is. It's lying to people. That's what it is, effectively. It is what it is. But that's really all I have to say about that. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Eventually, I'm probably going to do Bible Prophecy Sundays, where I just go over Bible prophecies on Sundays in general. But anyways, thanks for your time. Thanks for watching, and have a good day. Peace.